Hello, welcome to February 15th, 2025. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily good life meditation, an exercise that I do each and every morning, a little bit after waking up, to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone. Well, I wonder if I can delicately put this here. They're just perfect. Oh my gosh, this is really good. So I'm outside of the park. It's a rainy, cloudy day. And the rain's supposed to come intermittently, so I thought I'd find a safe spot just in case it starts to drizzle. This is a good spot. It's nice and private. My voice isn't bothering anybody. I like this. I think I might have found a nice, regular location. The only problem is I have to twist. Hello, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. My name is Kurt. I'm a 60-year-old retired guy living in Shizuoka City, Japan, with my 60-year-old retired Japanese wife. We have a 24-year-old daughter, Emily, who's currently overseas wrapping up her 2-week induction and training program for her new job in Tokyo, which she starts next Monday in earnest. We're very excited for her. She'll come visit us at the end of the week to tell us all about it. I basically do this video every morning as diary entry. So even though I'm in Japan, you'll see Japan incidentally happening around me. The camera's positioned in such a way that a Japanese person would need to deliberately attempt to get in the camera to wind up in shot. So that's good. Preserve people's privacy. Also, I'm in a location where I can talk freely, even early in the morning. I could even do this in the middle of the night, and no one wouldn't bother anybody. There's no apartments. The nearest residences are across the tracks. The train tracks are right over there. There you can see there's the nearest houses. They're far away. All that's over there is a graveyard, and I don't think the people there mind very much if I make a lot of noise. We might hear trains starting to go by as the day winds up in earnest. It's a Tuesday after all, and the world is going to be busy. So that I got my little introduction there. Disclaimer: I do, by way of journal entry, I do talk about personal subjects here. I share details about my own life. I rarely talk about other people's in my family life other than incidentals, because that's their own lives to share, and or not, as they see fit. I do talk a lot about ideas that I have about how to improve life, and I try to couch that in language of myself. So I talk about, instead of saying, we or you or anybody else, I'm saying me, because I can't tune you, and it's not my role nor my place, but I can, and it is my role and my place, attempt to tune and improve myself. So that's the language that I try to use. Sometimes you'll see me catching myself midway talking about others or talking about humanity at large, and then I have to come back and talk about myself, change it to direct to myself. It's not that I'm being deliberately self-centered in that capacity. I'm just trying not to extrapolate beyond my scope of control. The only person that I control in this world is me. Okay. All right. So, and also I want to say thank you to my YouTube viewers, my members on YouTube, and my Patreon supporters for buying me my Morning Shot by Wanda. This is the first one of these I've had since I've come back. They're pretty good. So I got this at 7-Eleven up the street. What I'm going to do now is 3 things. The same 3 things I do every day at this time. I'm going to review the last 24 hours, and I keep notes, by the way. So I look at my notes from yesterday that I kept over the last 24 hours. This little notebook and pen go with me everywhere. And I'm constantly, I don't scribble a lot. You can see just enough. So I'm going to talk about the last 24 hours. I'll review the 8 objectives of my creed. And then I'll talk about the next 24 hours, what I plan to do with this day. So last 24 hours, I have 2 notes here. PEF, which those that watch my videos regularly know what that means. And the second one is dogs at vet. I want to add one more that I forgot to note, called garden recovery. So let's first go into it. PEF stands for peaceful, easy feeling. One of the things that I do in this video is I try to note my state of being relative to this enormous change that's underway in my life called retirement. I'm 4 months into retirement, and it's been a mild roller coaster of euphoria at first, followed by feeling a little bit lost for a couple of months, and then starting to get on my feet again, or I shouldn't say again, on for the first time in this new state in the last month. Now, starting last week, there's a new arrival of a sensation that I call peaceful, easy feeling, which is exactly the thing that I would have expected retirement to be once the challenge of life of career is past, which is kind of a relaxation, a lessening of the stress and the weights, especially now that active parenthood is done as well. And that seems to have finally arrived. And I talk about it every morning. I've talked about this every morning for the last 3 or 4 days. So I won't go on and on about it, but I will make a note again that yet again it happened yesterday. And it seems to be in conjunction more and more with my wife. My wife, Yumiko, is always in great self-control. I don't think she suffers from the ups and downs, the vagaries, and the great oscillations that I sometimes experience, I have experienced in life, which are certainly lessening. My emotional state is not as extreme as it was in my younger years. It's far more steady now. But she seems to be enjoying it as well. And more she and I are just enjoying being at home in our little, I would dare to say, our little compound, now that we've extended ourselves out into the yard. And boy, I'll tell you, owning a house outright really changes the feeling as well, because it's like living on an island that's protected from the rest of the world. There's a sense of when you own it outright and have no other major debts, cars owned outright, etc. There's a great sense of peace that comes with that. So Yumiko and I more and more are enjoying just being at home, snuggled in that little peace and security, especially now that we're both feeling the impact and the effect of our age, because it feels safe to have a safe place to be, in spite of the weathering and the fatigue that the older years can seem to bring. Okay, I'm kind of drifting a little bit. You get the idea. Okay, I also, one more thing though, to dwell on it just a little more. Peaceful, easy feeling, PEF as I call it, is I'm also keeping a cautious eye on it, because I have a very strong feeling that it is the road to oblivion. And what I mean by that is, if I don't keep myself engaged in life, in just settling into the PEF will be a lot like settling into a lazy boy recliner and never getting up. That's not going to end well, right? We're going to become, our muscles will atrophy, our body condition will decrease, our engagement with the world at large will suffer, and will basically become the proverbial couch potato. I think that's a route that this could lead if I'm not careful. And I will be very careful. I don't want to go that route. I don't want to spend the next however many, whatever season I have left in life as a friggin' couch potato. Okay. Next item was dogs at vet. Thanks to one of you who cautioned me last week, and then someone else cautioned me yesterday as well about heartworm here in Japan, which is, now that we have the dawning spring season, is definitely a concern, as well as ticks and fleas, but especially heartworm, which I guess wasn't such a concern in Southern California, where ticks are where mosquitoes are kind of rare, but here in Japan they're everywhere, and they're starting up now. So we made an appointment last week with our vet. We brought both dogs in yesterday, and they took blood work, got a general checkup. We talked to our vet about the issues that the dogs have been having, which are not minor, and which are nothing major, just whatever we could think of, a little watery poop or whatever, and adjustment of the diet, etc. and always Rudy's behavior. And the blood work came out good, and we got our prescription for the heartworm. It's a general purpose medication that takes care of all of the pests that can infest dogs in the spring and summer months. But the dogs will be taking the medication all year round from now on. Now, why is that on the list? Because this is not a list of just what happened. I'm not cataloging the event of the day. I'm trying to point out items that happened yesterday that were a challenge for me in some way, because I want to review how I did. Did I meet the challenge well? Well, first, did the challenge take me by surprise? If it did, how did I handle that? Even if it didn't take me by surprise, how did I handle it? Did I respond well? If I did, then what principles or objectives or what new methodologies did I employ to handle it well? Was I just lucky, or did I make a conscious effort to handle it well? If I didn't handle it well, especially, that's really interesting. What happened? How did that incident get around my preparations and my my attempts at readiness to handle to do well in the unexpected situations? That's what I'm looking for. So the dogs at the vet, why is that even then on the list? Well, this is one that I knew would be an issue. If you're familiar with these videos, you know that we have 2 dogs, Olney, the black dog, Rudy, the white dog. And you may know that Rudy has behavior issues. Basically, he can be aggressive and defensive. And we're working on that. And I appreciate some of the emails and comments that I've received from all of you, links to videos, recommendations for training programs, etc. And I think we're working with our vet on it, with it as well. Now, that doesn't belay or negate the fact that when we take him into the vet, taking him to the vet is a bit of a challenge, because he can be temperamental and he can be aggressive and reactive. So what do we do? So the question is, how did I handle that? I knew we were going into a situation, and I knew that I was the only one that could really handle that. Well, first, I was a little bit wrong about that. I'm not the only one. I should not discount the fact that the vet is a professional and has a team of professionals, and in fact, they deal with dogs like this on a regular basis. They know how to handle this. So I learned this the last time I went to this vet, and the vet, when I explained the situation to them, produced a muzzle, a very comfortable little soft muzzle, explained to me how to put it on. I took Rudy aside and was able to slip it on without any problem, and we proceeded with the checkup, no problem. And what's more, the vet and his assistant were able to use some techniques that were really interesting about without a lot of delay. Especially the young woman was very well trained, that was basically assisting the vet, was able to introduce herself to Rudy, get close to Rudy, and eventually hold Rudy in her arms with the muzzle. And this was the last time too, and this time too. And the doctor was able to administer the blood draw, which meant, of course, a needle, and it was a lot of blood, as well as a full checkup, inspection of the ears, the application of topical ointment to the ears. And Rudy didn't respond once. He didn't growl. He didn't attempt to bite. He didn't do anything. So, which taught me that a tricky dog in the hands of a skilled human can be well managed. I took careful note of that the last time I was at this vet. And coming back, I knew that so preparing for yesterday, how did I handle the fact that I knew that it would be a challenge to take Rudy to the vet? I talked to Yumiko, and I said, okay, well, I know these, as we got to the vet's office, I said, I know these vets know what to do, so can you go in first, let them know that we have Rudy and Ollie in the car, and ask to get the muzzle, and we'll come out, I'll apply the muzzle, and we'll just do the routine that we did before. We set up a plan of action, and we executed again yesterday, and it went just fine. Rudy didn't show a single negative behavior in the hands of well-trained professionals. Now, I want to become such a well-trained professional, and I'm taking active measures to do so. In the meantime, I'm also implementing active measures to shield my family and the community at large from Rudy's behaviors, which also is a benefit to Rudy, because if I know how to um, if I can know how to avoid him being scared, then I'm doing him a favor as well. So I'm getting very good at that. And this isn't a great imposition on my life to do this. It simply means that I have to be more cognizant and aware of what's going on around me. Um, this is one of the real benefits of being retired, is that I can really be there for my little boy, and I can take the time that's needed to do things, and I can avoid or alter my involvement with the world at large accordingly. Furthermore, we're training ourselves as a family. Yumiko and I have already established routines in our own life. Now, Rudy's good. He knows who Yumiko is, and he won't attack Yumiko unless we put ourselves into a situation where he feels he has to defend me, and we know how to avoid that now. So our home life is relatively secure. It's when people come over, etc., that it's a bit of a challenge, because it's his space. But like I said, we're working on it. Anyway, I've been very long-winded to point out that the dogs at the vet was a challenge. And I think I met that challenge well through #reason. I used reason to remember the experience that I had previously with that same vet. Also to come up with a plan of action. #social principle, to communicate said plan to my wife so that we had a course of action laid out and ready to go when we got to the vet, which we then executed with the vet's leadership to perfection. And it really was a modeled visit. It's hard to believe that even in the waiting room with the other people there, Rudy was on good behavior. I was really stunned. So then it all worked out. So yeah, nothing else to say to that. So I give myself stars every day relative to how I did with things. The peaceful, easy feeling doesn't get any stars. It's stars in itself. But handling the dogs at the vet, I'm going to give myself 5 stars for that one, because we worked as a family and with the vet, and we came up with a good plan of action, and it did it. The last thing that I want to have here is garden recovery. I overdid it again yesterday because of the rain. Now I have a quota. We have a house that we bought. Then we have a bamboo forest in the backyard, and there's a trail that runs through the bamboo forest to the garden behind the bamboo forest. That is where we'll have our garden. And it's a former green tea field that's been laying fallow for 70 years. And then beyond that is the river. It's a very pleasant, bucolic setting. You can hear this gurgling sound of the Yoshida River from everywhere, including from within the house if you keep the windows open. It's quite nice. Anyway, the bamboo forest has these little bamboo spikes that stick up. Someone had come through, the previous owner perhaps, and cut them off so they could get through the forest, but they left the spikes up, which are incredibly dangerous. And they're hard to get out. So I'm undergoing this laborious effort to one by one remove the spikes using a big metal crowbar that I bought, which drives people in the comments nuts, because they want me to buy a machine or a chainsaw or a pickaxe or something else. So I get cards and letters every day from people telling me I'm doing it all wrong, which is just fine. But I actually enjoy the way I do it, and so I'm probably not going to change. So anyway, I have a quota of 3 bamboo spikes a day, which is a lot to do, because they're a laborious effort to drill that spike in there, lever it all around, but you're getting a great workout in the process. That's part of the reason I like it. And I'm retired. I'm not in any hurry, right? I just take my time doing this, and it's fun. I really enjoy it. I would much rather spend a month or 2 months slowly taking out the bamboo spikes, albeit with the danger that the spikes are still there, rather than get it all done with it in an afternoon and not have any fun at it. Anyway, I missed it the last 2 days, so I tried to catch up yesterday, and I did 6 spikes, and I removed weeds in the yard, and I really overdid it. I'm not going to get 5 stars on this one, because I overdid it, and I was consciously aware that I was overdoing it, and I pushed through nevertheless. Now, why is that a problem? Well, the men in my family don't tend to not live very long. It's rare for us to see our 80s. For a lot of us, we don't even see our 70s. Some of us are lucky to get to our 60s. I made it that far. So, and a lot of us die of heart attacks. So I have to be very careful about this stuff. So, but you can feel it when you're old. When I can feel it when I'm overdoing it. My heart's pumping really fast and stuff like that. And that wasn't happening. What was happening yesterday was just because it was a slow, steady effort. Then I went to the yard and was doing weeds and turning soil. It was a slow, steady effort, and I was feeling just this general body fatigue. And I thought, Kurt, you're not pushing your heart too much, Kurt. You're not gonna keel over necessarily, but you are overdoing it, and you're gonna pay a price. Now, here's the thing, and I'm not gonna give myself good stars because I definitely pushed it too far. But this is the second time that this has happened now in the last week, that I deliberately pushed myself too far in the yard because I was having fun. You know, it's like when I used to go surfing, I'd stay out and surf, and surf a little more because it was just so much fun. I was really enjoying it. I just love being in the yard. I got back into the house and I practically, crawled through the house. And Yumiko took one look at me and she said, "You're done, huh?" And I said, "I'm done." And I kind of took off my work clothes and I went. I have this wonderful room. It's not my bedroom. People think that because I say I have a room that I have my own bedroom. Yumiko and I have our own room, and then we're retired. We have a 4-bedroom house, and we each have our own rooms where we can hang out. And I have my room, which is it's the nicest damn place I've ever found in the universe. It's just such a great place. And I went up and Yumiko got me this really nice, comfortable sofa. Even Emily, who came in a couple of weeks back, and she stayed in my room on my sofa, and the next morning she slept on the sofa. She said, "Oh my gosh, that sofa is so comfortable." And you can have the window open, you can hear the river outside and the sound of the wind through the bamboo, and it's really nice. Anyway, I went and laid down, and 30 minutes later, it was, what was it? I got up for something, or was it dinner time? Anyway, I was fully recovered. I woke up and I was like, I'm back. Now, when we first moved into the place and I was doing the same thing and I was overdoing it, I wouldn't, if I overdid it like that, I was finished for the next 24 hours. This is the second time now that I overdid it, and I'd short rest 30 minutes laying down, and I was back on top. I went downstairs, I charged downstairs, I slid the door open. Yumiko was preparing or finishing dinner, and she looked at me and I said, "I'm back." So this is not, I don't get any stars for this. Excuse me. Although I am going to give myself stars. I'm going to give myself 3 stars. That's a punitive. That's a penalty, not 5 stars. So 3 stars, because I overdid it consciously, and that was not a good thing. So since that's the case, I'm going to go backwards a page, and I put like a star rating up here. I got 5 stars for the dogs and 3 stars for the garden recovery. And so I'm going to give myself, average those out. That's 4 stars, right? So yesterday was a 4-star day. Wasn't a perfect day. I could have done better. I could have moderated my garden work, but maybe I'm reaching a point now that I can push through all right, which I hope is the case. That's all that I have for yesterday's review. Now, the Good Life Creed, which I'm going to review now, consists of 8 objectives and 35 principles. These are what's the difference? Well, the objectives are the things I'm striving for in life. And they're not things necessarily. They're states of being. They're a way of living. They're verbs. They're active way to engage with life. And I'll go over them in just a second. The principles are the tools that I use to get there. Now, I never talk about the principles in this video. You can read about them in my book and the objectives. My book, Going Alone, which is available to read for free at goingalone.org. And if you're a Patreon member, you can access all of my books, all 6 of my books, for free on our Patreon site. And you can join Patreon for free. You don't have to give me any money. They're just all the PDFs are there. But I don't talk about the 35 principles much, other than to reference them as a hashtag this, hashtag that. So the 8 objectives, though, these are important to me. When I have a shipping business, I'm starting up one, right? Something to keep me active and engaged in retirement. And I've got this scale on my desk, and whenever I ship something out, I look at it because it's got a little tuning wheel, and I can tune it so that the dial streaks right at 0, right? Going over that's what I do, so I'm giving accurate shipping weights. every morning I go over my 8 objectives to do the same thing, to align myself with how I want to live today. The 8 objectives consist of the following 8 things. Number 1, oh, here comes the first train. I don't know if you can hear the ding, ding, ding. What time is it? Is it like 6 o'clock? It's 6:05, yeah, so the trains are starting to roll. We'll hear the train go by in a second. The day begins and the sun is starting to shine. There we go. Isn't that pleasant? So the first of my 8 objectives is to be always ready to die. This simply means that I want to be living my life in a state that if I was indeed to keel over with a heart attack in the garden today, I've left my affairs are in order. I've left a life in which my affairs are in order, my relationships are in good shape, and my life's work is, if not complete, in at least not a mess. You can see the train go by. First train of the morning. There we go. So, for example, yesterday, when I was feeling as I was feeling, there was no concern in my mind about, oh my gosh, I'm dying. Oh my gosh, what am I leaving behind? You know, I don't think about that because I know every day that it is. And so the answer to that question is, yeah, it is. It's been like that for years. I've had my affairs in order. It was a little more problematic before I got to Japan because we still didn't have a house to live in. My main concern, of course, is my wife. I want to, because it's most likely that I'm going to die first, and I want to make sure that she's cared for the rest of her life. So that's what it means by having my affairs in order. And all 3 of those things are yes, 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 all 3. So yeah, I'm ready to die. I don't want to die yet. I got things to do. I'm enjoying life, but I'm ready to die if today is the day. The second objective is to make good and effective use of my time. I mentioned at the start of this that I do not want to become a couch potato. No slight to couch potatoes, but that's not the way I want to live my life. It's when I was younger, and I won't go on about this story, but when I was in college, I worked in a convalescent home, and one day as an experiment, as I was doing my rounds, I asked all the old people, if you could go back in time, and do one thing different in your life, what would you do? And they said they would take more risks, and a lot of them added they would waste less time. Right? They felt like there's plenty of time to sit on your bed and watch TV when you're in a convalescent home waiting for death to come. I don't want to be spending my time doing that. I want to be out doing this stuff. So I want to make good and effective use of my time, but that doesn't mean just having fun. It means that utilizing my days and my life in a way that is making the world a better place. And for me, that means sharing what I've discovered and codified and written in my books through these videos and the other videos that I make, through talking with other people. I maintain a pretty robust and healthy correspondence with a lot of people. People write to me. I get a lot of email. And I take those emails seriously, and I respond to everybody. It's interesting how people come and go. Like it's like it's interesting. It's like, how do you describe it? People come into my life on email for a month, we correspond, and then they go off. And then I'll hear from them 5 years later, or 10 years later even, and say, hey, I wrote to you 10 years ago when I was in high school, or I was in college, and we talked about something, and I just wanted to give you a status report on how things went. I mean, I get those. And that, to me, indicates that I'm making good use of my time, if I'm able to do that. So, because I don't, it's not that I necessarily think I'm anything special, but I do believe that the hard work that I made, that I endeavored to come up with and write down objectives and principles to live a less painful life, just put it simply, and the fact that I've executed that life for many years and it seems to work, yeah, I want to share that. Yeah. So that's a good and effective use of time. And making videos like this and doing etc. What I'm doing every day is worthwhile in that capacity. Now that I'm retired, I give myself more over to leisure as well. Like yesterday, I didn't even turn the camera on. Sometimes I do the live videos in the afternoon. I just sat there in the garden and really enjoyed it, on my knees with my dog, pulling up weeds. That was fun. Another train. Okay, the third objective is to develop and maintain good and sound life principles, namely the creed. The fourth objective is to um, hold on, sometimes I get mixed up. Be always ready to die. Make good and effective use of time. Develop and maintain good and sound life principles. Cultivate good emotional reactions. Very important to me. I don't when the unexpected happens, I want to respond well. To perform good actions relative to my creed. Perform good actions. Recognize my true limits and true opportunities. Do just one thing at a time, and do the thing slowly, deliberately, and carefully, as I'm doing now. This is contrived. This is not my normal way of talking. Normally, I talk really fast. This effort to talk like this, I've been doing it so long, forcing myself to be in better control of my cadence and my communication style, that it's become natural now. I don't think about it anymore. But I had to overcome it. It's like breaking a horse, right? I mean, it bucks around until finally it gives up. And this is how I communicate all the time now. So I broke myself. And then the last one is but sometimes I'll fall back into it. You might see if you watch these videos enough. I get all excited. And the last one is to keep my balance. Okay, now that's my creed review. Hear the bullet train, the whistle. Shizutetsu local train on this side, bullet train on that side. Okay, now the next item is to go over what I'm going to do for the next 24 hours. Now, for like 3 or 4 times in the last week, I've said shipping. I'm going to do shipping. I started my online antique business again. Because I explained it before, but because Yumiko and I enjoy doing that together, we go to antique markets, antique stores, and flea markets and thrift stores almost every weekend now together. We really enjoy it because we have to we're furnishing our house. And while we're at it, I see all the kinds of stuff that I used to sell as an antique dealer, and I'm buying it and I'm starting to list it again. And we had our first sale last week, and I'm not promoting it very much, so I'm not. It's a slow start deliberately because I don't have everything set up. And we had our first sale, and my shipping time is 5 to 10 business days. I'm about 3 or 4 business days into that now. Today should be the day, though, because I knew that I didn't have the infrastructure set up for the shipping, which is a little more complicated now in Japan, because the Japan Post wants you to do it all online. So I had to have the online account set up and practice it all, and I needed to buy the shipping materials and the boxes and the packing peanuts and all that stuff, and it's here and there and everywhere, and I'm slow because I'm retired, and I take my time. I was gonna ship it yesterday, but just I got it all ready to go. I got the package, the items wrapped and everything like that. And then I realized I didn't have any packing peanuts. That sent Yumiko and I off on an expedition to find packing peanuts, which we were unable to do. We went to several different places, and then so we wound up having lunch, and then we walked the dogs, and then we visited Dad, and then the day was done. But now I think I've got it figured out. So I'm going to use newspapers. We might buy packing peanuts, but we have to buy and order them and have them shipped. So I'm going to use newspapers, which is fun. And that reminded me when I first started my business way back in 2003, way back then, I used newspapers as well, Japanese newspapers as filler. I stopped using them because they're a little bit heavier than packing peanuts, and they added to the weight of the package. But my customers gave me a lot of feedback back then that they liked the Japanese newspapers because they could unwrap their items and look at these newspapers from a foreign land. So I'm going to do that. So I dropped by Dad's house. I bought him a dorayaki. Stopped by 7. Got a dorayaki snack. Swung by his house because he reads newspapers and he keeps a stack of them. And I said, "Can I have your newspapers? And here's a snack." And he gave them to me. So that was nice of him. And by the way, I wanted to point out he was a model. Yesterday, a model of how to enjoy retirement. He's 90 years old. We popped into the house, he's got this brand new house that he built. It's beautiful. Popped into the house, and there he was sitting at the table. He had the TV going with NHK. He had the newspaper out. He had a cup of tea, and I handed him the dorayaki, and he was just like, he could care less that we were there. I acknowledged us. He's like, he's got his paper, he's got his NHK. I was like, "Dad, that's how you do it, huh?" That's how you enjoy your retirement. So, yeah. Anyway, so today's the day. I'm going to ship it today because I also got the online account set up. So that's all set up on Japan Post. I should be able to ship today. And then what's going to happen from there is I'm moving the store. There's only like one item in the store now. From my YouTube store back to eBay. I reopened my eBay store, and I set up everything there. I connected it to my bank account again, and I set up QuickBooks so that I can do all my taxation, and I integrated it in with the YouTube store. The eBay store. So it's all good. I should get it all going by next week. I should have all this going. But next week is the big remodel week, so maybe not. So that's it. So I'm going to do the shipping, work on the QuickBooks, and on 3 bamboo spikes, and I'll call that a day. And that's all I have to cover for my notes. Let's go ahead and see if there's any comments. Lots of comments. Wow. Humble. Hi, Humble. I don't think I've seen your name before. Hello, good morning, and have a good day today. You too. Missy Boo. Hi, good Missy Boo. Good morning to you. Sora. Hi. Marty. Happy Monday. Happy Monday to you too, or Tuesday here. How's the weather today? It's cloudy with a chance of rain, but the sun's out right now. Wamberto. Hi, Wamberto. What a great name. I haven't seen your name before. Hiya. Michelle. Michael. Hi, Michael. Humble. How do you feel now mentally that you don't have to worry about going to work and that you can just relax now? I could go on and on about that. That's a really good question. I don't feel stress anymore, but I don't feel challenged either, in the same way. So I have to force myself to be challenged. That's one of the reasons why I'm starting my eBay business again, is to have something where I have problems that I have to solve and challenges to overcome and deadlines to meet, because I think that's good to keep the brain sharp. But the stress is all gone. I'm sleeping. I couldn't sleep during my working career the last 4 or 5 years. I had a lot of trouble sleeping. My sleep issues seemed to have gone away. I'm at peace, basically. Do I miss America? I miss some things. I miss Americans. I like American people. I like our spirit and our energy and our enthusiasm. And I miss America too. Yeah, I guess so. But I don't miss it like I want to go back, because this is the 5th time I've moved between countries. So I always kind of pine for the place I left behind, remember it fondly. And as time goes by, it kind of wears away the sharp edges, and all you remember is the sweet stuff. That happens. But I know that happens. Hi, Erica. Wamberto says, my dog's a twat, too. Oh, you too, huh? Hammer Joe. What would be the minimum amount of money monthly that someone would need to have to live comfortably, considering that house and car would be paid up front? Wow. I guess it would depend on what you constitute comfortably. What I would recommend doing is lay out okay. You're not, I can't, you're asking about cost of living stuff. I can't answer that. There's too many variables, right? You'd have to do what I did, which is, what I did literally was, I broke out a spreadsheet. When we were figuring out how we could live here in retirement in Japan, I broke out a spreadsheet. I created a column of the goes intas and a column of the goes outas. Money coming in and money coming out. I knew what my money would be coming in on from retirement, and so I had to see so then I came up with a list of all the expenses that I was aware of in Japan, and see if I could make them work. And I didn't know what they were, even though I'd lived here before. So I used ChatGPT to look up information for me, which I then vetted. Things like cost of utilities, cost of rent, things like that. And then I just figured it all out. So I suggest you do the same thing. Figure out what your income is. If you're not retiring, then figure out what your income is and figure out what your expenses are, and go from there. The old way of doing physical work is to work for 3 days and then have 2 days off. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Robert says hi to everybody. She says hi to Robert. Erica says hi, BIY. which is belief in yourself, which is Robert. Umberto gives a thumbs up. Umberto, you know you work too hard when you get a prolapse. I don't know what a prolapse is. Missy Boo, I hope that you all have a great day today. Thank you, Missy Boo. Erica, these lives hit me at the end of my workday. They settle me somehow. Tip up to the hat to you, Kurt. Thank you very much, Erica. I'm going to try to get it positioned so I'm doing it at exactly the same time every day. Because I know I've been kind of all over the place, but I'm going to try to get it so it's roughly the same time every day. Robert says, I concur with Erica. Oh, thank you. If she were to pass first, would you remain in Japan? Ooh, that's an interesting question. That's an interesting question, and I have thought about it. And the answer probably would be yes and no. We have our house here, and it's paid for, and our car is paid for, and no bills here. So I keep all that. As long as we had the dogs, I wouldn't go anywhere. But if the dogs are gone, I'd probably go back to America and, get a motorhome and wander around America, but depends on how old I am, right? And my daughter will be here if there's grandkids, etc. There's too many variables to say exactly. But if Yumiko was gone first and I had the energy and the wherewithal, I'd probably go see the world more. Robert says hi to Sapporo J. Sapporo J, good morning, by the way. Early riser too. Are you here in Japan, Sapporo J? Are you in Sapporo? Umberto, link to the shipping business. I have some birthday money burning a hole in my pocket. Thank you. It's easy to find, Umberto. And it's starting to rain. Here it comes. And the sun's out. Wow, there's a big rainstorm coming right there. I'm going to get wet walking back. Umberto, just go on eBay and look for softypapa. That's the name of the store, and that's the name of my handle on softypapa. That's where the softypapa moniker comes from. Softypapa was my name on eBay before it was on YouTube, and it just means Emily, my daughter. Her nickname was Softypapa when she was little, and I am her papa. So just look for it there. There's one item listed. I've got a little Kokeshi doll sitting there. I'm going to add more. Missy Boo, today I needed some time to myself. I visited a botanical garden that is close to where I live and took photos of the tree blossom. I haven't done that for 3 years, and it felt great. Wonderful. Isn't it amazing how nature can do that? I just go sit in the garden sometimes, or sit on the balcony outside my room and just around the bamboo, and the bamboo moving in the wind, and it just does something, right? Sometimes we need time alone. Boy, don't I know that. Yeah, you're right. Umberto, Missy Boo, we have a butterfly farm near us that I love to go to when I want to be alone. Butterfly farm? Wow. I've been sub for about 15 years. Oh, well, thank you, Umberto. Thank you. Wow, that's a long time. That's from back before I went to America. Michelle. Hello, everyone. Hello, Kurt. Hi, Michelle. Howdy, Blue Tanuki. Hey, Blue Tanuki, friend from Discord and Patreon. Howdy. Already asked on Discord, but what chapter are you up to in Moby Dick? I just started reading it. I'm a very, 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 very slow reader. So I'm in the chapter titled right now Cetacea. So it's still in the first third of the book, and it's Melville's attempt to categorize the whales. And this is the reason you'll find this interesting when you get to the chapter. Maybe you'll find this interesting. Why I'm so slow. Melville divides that chapter up. He's talking about the various categories and species of whales, and he does so by breaking the whales up into folio, octavio, and octavio whales. Now, I was really curious, why did he choose that categorization system of folio and octavio? Isn't that because I was like, aren't those book sizes? And so I had this that spun me off yesterday. I was reading yesterday, and I just spun me off on like an hour and a half of research about book, and then I learning about book categorizations, how folio volumes were made, and then that led me to learning about Paternoster Row in England and London, and how the booksellers worked. And you see what I mean? So I'm a slow reader because I'm always exploring wherever these things go. But that's the chapter I'm on. It's called Cetacea. It's off the word cetaceans, whales, and it's Melville's amateur categorization of whale species. And the other thing that got me off, he was like in the book he's talking about whales, and he's giving them strange names. Like he's calling the whale the sulfur bottom whale, and I'm like, what the hell? I've never heard of a sulfur bottom whale. Turns out it's the blue whale. And then he was talking about how the sulfur bottom whale for the whalemen is a whale that the whalemen should avoid because it's too powerful. And I'm going, yeah, well, yeah, it's the biggest thing on earth, right? And so I hope you enjoy it when you get to that chapter. But it can really waylay you because it's got so much side stuff. Robert says hi to everybody. Blue Tanuki says hi to Robert. Renaissance, hey Renaissance, hi Kurt, hi everyone. Kurt, any plans to start retrieve your series of explorations about the Japan countryside? I already am. So I'm uploading, thank you. I did my first big adventure last week on Wednesday. I went to Yui with Rudy, and we spent half a day exploring Yui. And I've already uploaded about 4 videos in the Walking Japan series, and yesterday I uploaded an Abandoned Japan video. So on the channel, I'm back, and I should be making at least once a week or every 2-week adventures into the wilderness or into the Japan to make videos. So yeah, every day expect Renaissance. You should see a new Abandoned Japan, Walking in Japan, Real Japan Monsters, etc., video every day from now on. Robert says hi to Renaissance. Renaissance says hi to Robert. Umberto, first vid I watched was Emily stumbling around in her Gaeta. That was a classic. Yeah, thanks. Blue Tanuki, cool, thanks. I'm a pretty slow reader too. You introduced me to the idea of using AI to ask about confusing parts of books. Very useful. It really is. I found it, just for, if you're curious, Grok is the best at that, getting the separate Grok app. The reason I find Grok to be the best is you can actually set Grok down if you have your phone running and tell Grok, just listen, don't say anything. It'll just sit there patiently until you have a question, and then you can ask it a question and it'll respond. If you do like ChatGPT, ChatGPT's voice mode will pipe up once in a while and say, are you there? Are you there? It's like, shut up, I told you to wait. Grok will actually do that. It's the closest thing I've yet experienced to actually having like an AI just there in the room with me. Grok is pretty amazing, and it doesn't make stuff up like Eva does. You can't trust Eva for anything. If you ask her a question about stuff, she'll just make stuff up all day long, and she's not apologetic. Grok is unbelievably good, isn't it, Wumberto? Amazing. I've been tempted to try unhinged mode in Grok for fun. I've used unhinged mode, and I used it with Yumiko to show her. Yumiko was not impressed. I find the unhinged mode, and free as well. Yeah, it's nice. The unhinged mode is, it's almost, well, it's too unhinged, but it's like, it's useless. There's no use for it because it's just, all it is just, it's like, do you remember there's that Monty Python skit where you could go to the abuse room and get abused? That's just, or the guy was looking for the argument room, anyway. It's great if you want to, it's like a showpiece, right? But I can't get anything useful done with the unhinged mode. Now if you tried it, there's some other modes there that are pretty outrageous, so I won't say their names, but I'll leave that alone. And I think I'll finish up with that, guys. Thanks for joining me today. I wish you all the best. Be safe, but not too safe. The rain is starting to clear. The sun has started to come out. I think I'll begin my day. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye. Oh, and be safe, but not too safe.